Hi, friends. This is Talisha here to share with you all my submissions tracker. So, this is how I keep track of the poems that I'm submitting to publications or the things that I'm sending out for fellowships or grants. Although, right now, I don't really have anything out like that. But anyway, I just wanted to share with you how I keep track of everything. So this is Notion for those of you who may not be familiar. Notion is a free like productivity uh site. I don't know what the technical term for it is, but it's a way where you can like just get everything in one spot and manage your data and just I don't know, it's magical. It's something I recommend for all poets and teaching artists. Anyway, I have shown clips of it in the past for other things. But yeah, anyway, we're gonna just dive in. I will just be rambling and yapping as I walk you through my Notion. So, right off the bat, we have our submission snapshot. This is where I can see everything about my submission stats for the year. So far, I've only submitted 4 poems. We are like in May, mid-May, and I've only submitted 4 not poems, but like to 4 publications. Um and as you can see, one is still in progress, which means I am waiting to hear back whether or not it's a yes or no. 3 have been declined, 0 have been accepted. I have not withdrawn any, I have not made any money, and usually this acceptance rate will just tell you the percentage of like how likely how often I get accepted versus rejected. So I think last year my acceptance rate was like 19%, which you can see a little bit of here. These numbers look a little off as far as like the total that have been submitted versus declined and accepted because some of them are still in progress, but I moved them to a different system. So you can't really see them. But anyway, you can see I had a 19% acceptance rate last year and earned $423 for my poetry. So anyway, that's just a little snappy shot. I don't know why it came out so weird. Anyway, over here I have some information that I use often. So bio and cover letters. As you know, when you are in the process of submitting your work, you need this information. You need a bio. They are always going to ask for one. And then a cover letter, they won't necessarily always ask for one, but it's just good to have it on hand because sometimes they do want that. So I have a bunch of different, I was gonna say sized, and then I was gonna say shaped. That's not a different bios at different lengths. So this one is a short bio, 50 words or less, is often the one that is going out because yeah, a lot of times they don't want a big, like chunky bio, but I do have a medium one, which is like 50 to 100 words. I have a large bio, which is 100 words or more. And then I have a mini one, 20 words max. This is not 20 words. This is definitely shorter than 20 words. But I have come across a few where they're like, give us a bio of 20 words or less. Like, huh? So yeah, as you can see, I have cover letters here as well, but I can also break it up so I don't have to see all of that. But I just like to keep it together. Um, and then cover letters. This is the basic one, right? This is the subject line if I'm sending an email. Like if I'm doing it in Submittable or something, I don't necessarily need a subject line, but I will put the actual like editors or the lit mag or publication's name, like dear editors of Fake Journal or dear readers and editors of blah blah blah, you whatever. And then I do my little spiel. I'm excited to submit my poems for consideration. And then I can include the titles of the poems. And I always tell them that the poems are going to be simultaneously considered elsewhere. And I thank them for their time. Often I will say this when I am submitting. So what I'll do is I'll just, Oh my gosh, not me doing all the things I don't want to do. I'll just copy and paste it into whatever, and then I will come back through. And what I will do is I will just grab my bio, um, and I also copy that and paste it right in there. And it just makes it so quick. I also have like a withdrawal letter because, sometimes you need to withdraw your poem. If it gets accepted elsewhere and you've submitted it to like 5 different places, now you've got to go to those other four and let them know, hey, this poem's not available. And that's pretty simple. I'm just saying I'm withdrawing one poem from this packet that's been picked up by another publication. I put the poem title, and then I let them know the remaining poems are still available for their consideration. And yeah, I will title that like a single poem withdrawal request. So pretty basic. And then yeah, I do have a couple other cover letters, like a BIPOC queer one. This is just kind of like so I can thank them for promoting the work of marginalized voices and creating space for us, blase, blase. And then again, I have it's a space. This is where I normally would paste that bio that I copied in the cover letter. So anyway, and yeah, so that's bios and cover letters. I do have a poems database, so this is housing like the poems, not doesn't house the text of the poems, and that's because I adore Notion so much, but the place where they are falling short for me personally is in the ability for me to paste or format uh a poem the way that I want to in the Notion like text area. Like you can't, for example, my poem Weeping for What Was Stolen is a rib cage, and it's a very specific form how it falls on the page, and I can't make that happen in Notion easily. I don't know if I can make it happen at all. I have tried and have failed, so I gave up on it. So I do currently keep my poems housed in Google Docs. Looking for my Google Docs alternative. We're gonna get there, friends. But yeah. So these are all the poems that are currently ready to like go out and be submitted. And as you can see, I have the title of the poem. I have some keywords just so I know like what the heck the poem might be about, and like I'm to see what I might want to put together in into a packet. I have the status, so some other statuses are like if it needs a packet, or if it's just not submitted, so it's like in a little gray area, which is why it's gray. I have out for submission, so that means that the poem is, waiting to, it's in progress. In chapbook is something that I just added because I had some poems that are I can only submit to places that are like we accept published work already. And these are poems that were in my chapbook. So they're technically already published. And so I just wanted to make sure I didn't accidentally try to put them in another submission packet and then accept it if somebody is like, yeah, heck yeah, give us that poem. Um, and then yeah, and this will show me what poem packets they're housed in, which we're gonna look at poem packets next. Some of them are in a couple of packets. And then the link to finished poem, that's for the ones that are like accepted, which I can see over here who's been accepted. And yeah, you can also rearrange all of these things. So each view, I kind of like switch it around to put what's important. So for me, an accepted view, the poem title and the link is the most important information. So some of them I don't have the links for because they were print, and so I just need to go in and find the link for the actual volume that they're printed in and put it there. I just haven't done that yet. But yeah, I can see all the poems. So everything that is in this doc, I can see if there were some that needed a packet, which there are not currently. And yeah, the ones that are unavailable are those ones in the chat book. But yeah, mostly I'm paying attention to this available one when I am coming in here because I need to figure out which packet do I want to submit. I submit based off packets. I don't necessarily tailor And is this a good idea or a bad idea? I don't know, but I don't specifically go, oh yes, I want to send this poem and this poem and this poem. Every single time I sit down to submit, I do it sometimes, occasionally, depending on the opportunity, but typically I'm like, okay, today we're going to focus on submitting, I don't know, poem packet B. And that's the one I'm going to be working on. But anyway, enough about my strategy. Looking at the poem packets. So this is how this is looking. These are ones that I can still send out. So I can see which poem packet it is, and then I can see keywords for it. When I open it, I can see the link to the Google Doc, which houses all of the poems. And I can see which poems are in this packet. I could also see like if say Grief Hibun was in another packet and it got accepted, then I could come over here and I could remove it. I could remove it from here, and then I could also just note here that Grief Hibun was removed. Um, gosh, I didn't mean to click on that. But I can say Grief Hibun was removed from this packet, which we're gonna fix now. Just clickety clacking it on all the things that I'm not trying to. Let's put Grief Hibun back into this doc. Okay. But yeah, so you can see, so that just makes it so I can know, okay, what poems are available in this packet, but I can also see what poem may have been removed. I don't know, it's just information. And as you can see, it pulls in the keywords. So say these other, each poem had a different, I don't know, Sestina for Loss, let's just say it's probably a poem that mentions my mother. I know it is a poem that mentions my mother, actually. So I'm going to tag the keyword mother as well. And then this is a sestina. So I'm going to mark it as a form because I don't know. Sometimes I don't always come in and do all of this. But anyway, so now you can see it added in this packet. These are the keywords. It's a mixed packet. I say mixed because there was no set theme for this, so it's mixed themes. But yeah, so now you can see I have poems about mother, I have form poems. I could go in, I mean, this golden shovel, for example, is also a form, right? And this one is political, so we can go in and add politics. Um, and so now when we go back to A25, we also see politics is added here. We can see up here which poems have which tags. I don't know, it just makes things easy for me. And then status, I have pause for if I've submitted a packet out a bunch and I want to like just not send that packet for a while just to like give it time, let it simmer, right? So I'll put this tag on here. If it's a single poem, every once in a while, I will um just send a single poem for something. Like maybe they only asked for a single poem, or it's some kind of like, I don't know, just a random opportunity. I will just want to mark that it's not a full poem packet, it's just that one poem. And then retire packet, this is if every poem in this packet has been accepted, that's when I retire the packet. So it just makes it really easy to kind of keep an eye on these things. So as you see, there are two packets that are retired because all of these poems have been accepted. Um, these are paused. And it also doesn't have to be because I've submitted it too many times. As you see here, poem packet, no simultaneous submission. So I uh definitely don't want to like accidentally send this poem packet back out. So it's paused until I hear. And then detailed, that doesn't really do too much of anything. I mean, it gives you, because my page is so like condensed right now, you can't see it all, but it just gives you like the title and the keywords all together. But I just stick really in the ready section just to see which poem packets I want to work with. So for today's example, because we'll look at a submission tracker and I'll show you an example, we'll probably use poem packet 825. And then the heart of it is the submissions tracker. So this is where I keep track of everything. So right now we have the current month, which is May. I haven't submitted anything, but like let's pretend I am. So if I hit new page, it's going to auto-populate the month and put it automatically and in progress status, which will automatically update our total submitted from 4 to 5. And then here I have the chance to come through and just enter. So we're gonna say fake journal and I have info. This is where I can put some stuff that's just helpful for me. So maybe this is a print opportunity. And let's say it is going to be submitted via submittable. And let's say they are going to have a quick response, right? Like maybe they said we'll let you know in like 5 days. Like, heck yeah. And then I can choose whether they pay, yes or no, or if they offer a contributor's copy, if they pay per poem, right? So let's say in this example, yes, they pay and they give us contributor's copy. Let's say they are going to pay $50. And then I said that I was going to be submitting poem packet 825, but as you can see, all the poem packets are listed here. You can also search if you weren't sure which one you wanted. Which again, oops, I already knew that I wanted 825. So when I click on that, what happens is it automatically populates all of the poems that are in that packet. So I know which poems I sent to them. So Sestina for Loss, Golden Shovel, My Body Asks Am I the Drama, Memoir of the Present, and Grief High Button, all of those. I can also put some notes here if I wanted to. If there was a submission due date, I can add it here. So maybe they're saying, submissions close on the 31st of the month. And so this is just helpful information for me because sometimes when I'm looking at like how long it's been since I submitted, I'm like, are they still like open? Like, what's the deal? If I know that they closed on May 31st and it's now like December 31st, I'm usually like, they probably ain't gonna get back to me. But it's just information to have, right? And this auto populates as soon as I create a new one, it automatically populates the date that it was submitted on. So yeah, so that just adds that to the month. I can keep track of everything that I've submitted this month on this column. I can also see in 2025 in progress. So it added that fake journal submission to my in progress section. You can see I already had another one in progress to that draw journal. I don't know if I said that right, but as you can see, it was an online, it's going to be an online publication and I submitted it via submittable. I submitted poem packet I-5, which had these 3 poems in it. They paid $50. I put a note here that I accidentally sent. I stopped trusting instead of there's a spell at the end of this poem, which was the poem in this packet. So I noted that I withdrew that poem only. And then, yeah, as you can see, the rest of this information is not really useful for us right here, right now. This is where I can see all that are in progress. So I do still have some from like 2024 that I haven't heard back from. They're all probably no's, but anyway. But they are still in progress technically. So those are all there. I can see what has been accepted in 2025, which is nothing yet. I can see what's been declined in 2025, which is all 3 of these. And I can put in the decision date. So that way I can see I submitted this March 31st, and I found out by May 14th, right, of what their decision was. I can see all the information over here. I can also see the response time, right? Like how long did it take for them to respond? So here was 44 days, here 113 days, here 53 days, right? And then I have like last year. So this is more so you can see what accepted looks like. So I can see, did I receive payment? Who is the publication? What poem did they accept? How much did they pay? When was their decision date? Any notes, right? So like here I need to follow up about payment. Here I need to note they only pay international folks, but I'll receive a contributor's copy. I also know that they accepted all the poems in the packet, but I withdrew every one except for I Stopped Trusting because that's another thing. When you are submitting multiple poems, like sometimes you have to be prepared for them to be like, yeah, I want all of them. And you have to decide like, oh, do I want because when I send out, I'm thinking you're gonna get like maybe one or two. Um, Usually just one is what I'm thinking you would want to take. So whenever it's like, oh, we want all of them, you have to then decide like, are you going to be like, yes, you can have them all, or are you going to be like me and be like, sorry, only, this one is available and like offering that. And seeing if they will still want to take it with just the single poem. And that's just because, especially if you send I know some places they are like, you can send up to 10 poems. And then I've seen them accept 10 poems. And for a lot of people, that's like their entire like available pool to pull from and to submit with. And especially if it's not a paying publication, like then you've essentially given all of those poems away for free. You only have that one opportunity. So even though, and this place actually they didn't pay, so that was another reason why um I didn't want to offer all of the poems um in that packet because then somebody else did accept one of the other poems and they paid me for it, right? So it worked out really well. Um but yeah, anyway, here's another one. I forgot to withdraw since the poem is in the chat book. I had a little snafu here. So I had to let them know, like, hey, you can't have this one. It's been in my chat book instead. And they were like, it's fine. Because a lot of times they want first rights and they don't want previously published work, which if it was in my chat book, it's previously published. So I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. And I reached out and luckily they liked the poem enough that they were like, man, it's cool. You know, and they paid me for it. Hello, thank you. Appreciate that. So again, you can see a response time. This one's janky just because I entered for whatever reason, I entered it after, like I entered it on the 30th of December, but I clearly had submitted the poem way before then because they let me know on November 28th. And I think that I didn't have them on this chart. I submitted it, but I didn't have them on the chart. So that's why that is a negative response time. But yeah, as you can see, I mean, 6 days, heck yeah, that was a good response time. 10 days, but mostly the longest here, 69 days, right? So sometimes it's a waiting game with publications. And then I have a bunch of other different views, right? Grants, fellowships, retreats, acceptances versus rejections chart, which I don't know that we're still working on that. And then 2025 all, so I can see anything that was like, yeah, set in 2025. But yeah, so that's how I keep track of my submissions. So if, say, Fake Journal was like, yeah, we want to accept your poem. We want to accept, Sestina for Loss. Then I could go in and I could be like, okay, we're going to move this to 2025 acceptance instead of in progress. And then I can come into, um, let's go into my poem packet. Because now I want to go. So say they're doing Sestina for Loss. So that's what we're going to remove from this packet. We're going to go ahead, boop. And then we're going to go into Sestina for Loss. And then we can say that this poem has been accepted. And that just kind of helps put that together. And then let me remember how let me go back to 2025 accepted. Okay. So the decision date, I didn't put that, is today. And we're gonna say, let me remember. I haven't had an acceptance so far this year, friends. So like, wait, how do I do this? Okay. Boom, there we go. So I would just come in here to poems accepted. That's the relation. Sestina for Loss. There we go. I had to remember my process. And yeah, so now I see they're gonna pay me $50. And yeah, the response time was 0 days only because obviously we made that up. Anyway, as you can see, now we have one in progress, but it has been accepted. Wait, what? Yeah, one in progress instead of two, and then one has been accepted. So that's pretty dope. And then once they pay me, I can say, yes, I received the money. And then I can come over here and say um that this is all mode of payment, say they pay me with PayPal. Um, since I haven't had any acceptances yet in my 2025 accepted, my table is a little janky, so I'm gonna go ahead and fix that now. So payment received, decision date, I want publication name, I want that, and then that. And then we want to do mode of payment and response time, boop, boop, boop. And then anything else that I care to have up front. We'll move date paid up here as well. Okay, so that should have rearranged some things for us. Amount after taxes and fees, this is not really super valid for me, because, you know, I don't, usually they pay with like something that doesn't account, that doesn't take fees or anything like that. But anyway, notes and stuff, we could say they paid me today. Um, yeah, so that's how I have all that information. And you can readjust like how big, how wide things are. I like to go in and just like make them fit the boop. There we go. Just so it's easier to see whatever the heck information you have. Obviously, you can just scroll really easily through and see it, but I don't know. I just like doing it that way. Anyway, I'm gonna delete this because it is not a real thing and I don't want to jack myself up. But anyway, so now you can see we're back to just having one in progress. And again, my little submission stats went back to 4 in progress, 0 accepted. So it's all connected in that way. And the way that it's all connected is with these nerdy numbers. This is the information used to pull the data into the databases. Can I explain to y'all how this works? No, I just set it up and and yeah, we'll probably struggle again at 2026. Like, how did I do this again? And this keeps track of monthly submissions. Sorry, this is a template that I made for other people as well. And so these are like the little notes that like you can add your monthly goal in the section. And the progress bar will fill up, right? My goal is 5 per month right now, and as you can see, it's not been happening. 2, 0 in February, 2 in March. So yeah, but if we're looking at like last year, well, this is not going to be accurate because last year I was using actually a different document. I have this link, but that's not it either. Let me see if I can pull up my 2024 submissions tracker. Yeah, which kind of the same, like it was a bit of the same idea. Um, Cover letters, bios, poem packets, the submission snapshot, the submissions tracker, which is where you can see those progress that progress bar. But that's also a little bit janky because again, it's I don't know. That's why I had to redo it because it kind of like got really messy and I was like, I need to fix this. But anyway, this is my old submissions tracker, where it was just way more. It was doing way more. It was a lot. So the current one that I use is just a lot more condensed and just feels a little bit better. Anyway, so this is how I keep track of everything. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. I know that this won't work for everybody, right? This is just what works for me. So this is how I use it. This is how the inside of my brain works. So if there is a way that is helpful for you, do that. But if you like something like this, then yeah, I definitely would recommend setting something up. I mean, Notion is really cool. You can do so much with it. And so that's it. I don't have an outro. This is an unscripted little video. And so I just wanted to share because I get people asking about this a lot. And a lot of people actually like it when they see this. And I wanted to just go a little bit more in depth. So anyway, I hope y'all have a great day, and I will see you next Monday for the next video. Bye. Oh, this is awkward because, of course, then I lost the thing to stop the recording. Okay, for real, for real. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.